I'm Jessie Draper, the Valley Girl.
Valley Girl.
Let's talk business.
I'm like the Valley Girl.
ReadyforZero is an online software program that helps people manage and reduce debt. Ignacio Thayer and Ebrahimi are co-founders of ReadyforZero. I'm ready. Well, here we are with Rod and Ignacio of ReadyforZero. So welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks.
I'm so happy to have you guys here. I've heard a lot about your company, and I love what you're doing. So what does ReadyforZero do? Give us a kind of overview.
Sure. So thanks for having us. And so ReadyforZero is an online tool that helps people manage and reduce their debt on their own.
Which is an important thing.
Really important.
But not everybody learns.
Not everyone learns. So there's about $2.5 trillion in total outstanding debt in the U.S. alone. So
oh my gosh.
Big numbers.
And on our site, we have about 300 million or more now of debt on our site of people.
That's amazing.
And people
300 million?
300 million, yep. And it grows every day. And people have paid off over $30 million of their own debt.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So it works.
High five.
Yeah.
It's working.
It's working,
right?
yeah.
It works. So I mean, we're not financial services guys, which makes it kind of unique, right? So we're tech, product guys. We're internet kids, so to speak, right? So when we wanted to tackle this problem, it was totally new to us, and so having $30 million paid down already is a big deal because it's actually working. So.
Yeah, definitely.
And we get people writing in all the time telling us how well it worked for them and how happy they are now that they're debt free. So it's really rewarding. Yeah.
How did you guys start this company? Why did you decide to start this company?
So it's a really funny story. We were in Y Combinator, and actually we decided,
which is a great accelerator program.
Great. So while we were there, we were doing something with Twitter. We were like, hey, this is really cool. We'll just, Ignacio had come from Google, where he did a lot of big data stuff and machine learning, and so we were like, this is perfect. We'll figure out something neat to do with Twitter data. It turns out that's not a really big problem, right? And so while we were in Y Combinator, Paul Graham recommended that we start thinking of other ideas, and at that same time, my girlfriend graduated grad school, had a ton of debt, and she came to us being the tech guys. What site can I go look up that can help me with my debt? And we're like, I have no idea, right? Well, let's go build it. So that's the story behind ReadyforZero.
Okay, so I want to go pay off my debt. How does it work? What do? I sign up.
So you sign up, you come to the website, right? We'll actually
ReadyforZero.com.
ReadyforZero.com. We'll pull in all of your information, all of your debts. So if you have student loan debt, auto loan debt, mortgage, anything, we pull it all in. We use your online banking credentials. We'll pull it all in. We'll create a plan based on your cash flow, so how much you can actually afford to allocate to your debts. And then we'll keep track of that. And so some of the unique things we do is we actually automate it completely. So when we give you a recommendation, hey, Jesse, you've got a new deposit of $1,000. Why don't you make an extra payment of $100? This will save you $20 in interest. And then you can actually click and make that payment right through ReadyforZero as well. So this whole entire, the whole process is automated. That's how we do it.
Do you feel like there's a formula for getting rid of debt? Do you feel like there's a formula or a secret? What is the secret to getting out of debt?
ReadyforZero is the secret.
Obviously.
So it can be really complicated, I guess. And so I don't think there is one secret, right? Which I think is why there's been a lot of confusion with debt before. So if you look at other solutions that people turn to for debt, they go to potentially scammy sites, right? And or potentially scammy industries, and they say, here's my information, please help me, right? And they're in a completely vulnerable situation. So I think one of the things that's nice about our site is that we kind of take all the nuances out of it, and we just kind of tell you what to do, right? We don't say here are a million options, figure it out, do what's best for you, because you don't know, right? And so we just say, look, if you just do this very simple thing and keep track of your progress, you'll get there. And we give you this end date, and if you just do all the things we tell you, by that end date, you'll be out of debt.
And is it an algorithm? Is it
So the algorithm is actually pretty simple.
Okay.
It's the highest, most painful debts first. So we focus your attention on one of your debts at a time. So on our site, the average person has 4 debts that they're paying down. So that may be 3 credit cards and 1 student loan, or maybe 4 student loans. And so you may not know which ones to focus your attention on. So we'll say, hey, look, based on how much money you make, we think you should focus on this. And usually it's the highest interest. Actually, that's always how our algorithm works.
What is a story? Do you guys have a story that's really touched you?
I guess maybe not one in particular, but we have, on our blog, we post successful profiles of people that are willing to share their stories sort of publicly. And I remember one in particular, someone paid off almost $40,000 of debt in a period of 8 months or so. And what happened was that when she started seeing the progress that she was making, she ended up taking even more like drastic measures to try and get out of debt. So I remember she sold her car and bought a cheaper one.
Wow.
And like that to me, just our site is very.
It changed her whole.
It changed her whole life, right? And
Yeah.
then at the end, like the feeling that people get when they are actually out of debt is amazing.
So what is one piece of advice you guys have for an aspiring entrepreneur?
I think there are several, but I think one of the most important is probably find some sort of mentor, someone who's done it before. That when you have basically sort of existential questions about the fact that like, am I doing the right thing or is this thing heading into oblivion? That someone can tell you that's normal, right? Keep going, or you should think about what you're doing.
Someone who's been there.
Someone who's been there and knows how hard it is. Because I think, we've seen, having now been out of Y Combinator for a couple of years, we've seen companies, be successful and some not. And I think, I think the ones that had really good mentors were the ones that were able to change course when they needed to, or keep pushing through some hard times. And so I think that's actually one of the more important pieces that I would say.
Yeah, the objective view is very hard because you're in this, right? And it's like
and
everything's
you can't see
going
anything
on.
else. Yeah.
Exactly.
Is there a time that you guys really felt like you were failing and you had to change something and you, I don't want to say failing, but you had to pivot?
So I think one of the most stressful times that I remember was at the very beginning when we were working on this Twitter thing, right? And we had like this sort of bad feeling about it, like where is this really going? Like what problem is this solving? And that crisis was existential, right? Like are we existing to do this or not? And so that was really stressful because then we were sort of in a search for like a mission, right? And like when we found it, I think after that, once we knew that we had this problem that real people had and that we could help them with, that was sort of like, no matter what else happens, at least we like have this one thing that like we're actually helping people, right? And like we're actually solving a problem. And so like after that, like there were hard times, right? When a lot of stuff was like ambiguous or up in the air, but like at the core, like it made sense to me at least. And
you just felt a lot more, you knew where you were headed.
It was more focused.
I mean, having a mission's important.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I have this idea for a game. So here we are with the founders of ReadyforZero, and they are going to play a game while giving us very important get out of debt tips. But you can only give them when the ball is in the air. Are you ready?
Ready.
I'm gonna put on my protective goggles. I've heard you could lose an eye when doing things like this. Okay, you ready, set, go.
Pay off your highest interest card first.
Know what your highest interest card is.
Track your spending.
Don't drink Starbucks.
Sell your car.
Buy less shoes.
Consolidate your student loans.
Take public transit.
Make your own coffee.
Use ReadyforZero.
I think that was amazing. That was amazing. Those were great tips. I'm like the Valley Girl.
We're like ready for zero.
That was so perfect. It was like almost the same tonality. And now it's time for your Dits moment. Cool. What's your favorite kind of ice cream?
Cookie dough, I'd probably say.
Cookie dough?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you just like eat all of the cookie dough though?
Yeah, I do.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's just kind
who
of like
doesn't?
vanilla
Yeah.
leftover.
It's a vehicle for the cookie dough.
You should just like get cookie dough.
Well, I do that too, but yeah.